So I'm like, what do I do? I gotta save these ants.
Mikey, where are you right now?
I'm currently in Manila, Philippines.
¿Cómo estás?
Wow, mabuti.
Mabuti. Yeah,
Yes.
mabuti. Congratulations on your nomination for AntsCanada's Pro Ant Farms.
Thank you very much, Drew. It's truly an honor. I can't believe it still.
And then, of course, your documentary, that's also amazing. I think what's really cool is that you're able to tell a story that's so engaging and so captivating. And it's just insects crawling around, but it's a whole world that really is, it's through your eyes that we get to see the drama that happens. Can you just tell me a little bit how you got into ants? I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, I've always been an insect nerd growing up. I was the kind of kid that, went to family parties and went straight for the yard and rolled over rocks to see what creatures I could find below, all of the yard decor and stuff. Yeah, I've realized that insects kind of live in sort of this outer worldly universe where they deal with some of the most epic problems. There are wars that go on, just random. There are zombie apocalypses that happen in the insect world. It's just really epic stuff that you would only see in Hollywood that are actually happening under our noses without us even realizing. So when I saw this in my ant farms I was keeping, I realized, hey, why don't I film this stuff? Because I don't think people know just how epic the lives of insects really are. So so I did, and it just really kicked off. The audiences name the ant colonies. They're named after the different tribes. So it's really kind of like a Game of Thrones universe, but in the insect world on the micro scale. And it's better than anything, any CG or any Hollywood fabricated universe that can be made. It's just really, it's real life. Mother Nature is savage.
Tell me about your brooch there. Is that an ant there on your jacket?
It is actually. It's thousands of dollars. Just kidding. I bought it online during this pandemic. We started to order more stuff online because, of course, we can't go out. And this was one of my random online purchases.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And let me ask you just a little bit about your Pro Ant Farm.
Yes.
Like, how did that come about? Your own creator product. That's so very cool.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting story. I actually started, maybe this was almost 10 years ago. The ant farms used to just be made in my basement using cement and different materials I would buy from various stores. And then eventually the demand for them got so big that I had to go look for, the resources and the company to partner with in order to mass produce the stuff. So eventually I moved to Asia and partnered with various groups. And now we manufacture the stuff and ship all the products to our warehouse over in the US, in Utah, and ship the ant farms worldwide. So it started really with me getting my fingers dirty in my parents' basement. And now it's just grown to this big line of ant farm products to make sure all the ants of the world have luxury homes in their ant farms.
Now, are you specifically a fan of ants, or are there other insects that might be you have your eye on to expand that world?
Yes, currently the line is just for ants, and they can be used for other insects, but we are working on a new line, which I can't really talk about, which are for another group of amazing invertebrates. But that's something we're launching and is in the works now. And I'm really excited to get started on that.
Can you just recap a dramatic moment from the AntsCanada documentary, like something that you talked about how it's, these are very human-like emotions that come out of just sitting and observing ants behave? Like, was there something that stuck out as like a dramatic thing that you could recap for us briefly?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so get this story arc, guys. And I'm saying story arc as if we didn't. I just filmed the whole thing. So one of my biggest colonies, they were a successful colony called the Golden Empire, yellow crazy ants. They ended up getting infected somehow by vampiric mites. So these mites would attach to their bodies and would suck their blood. And they went from a colony of like millions of ants down to just 200. So I'm like, what do I do? I gotta save these ants. So I also had a colony of rhino beetles. And one of my subscribers mentioned, hey, the rhino beetles should have hypoaspis mites, which are predatory mites, which will eat the vampiric mites. So I went to my rhino beetle colony. I harvested some of these predatory hypoaspis mites, placed them into the tank with the Golden Empire, and help. Oh, sorry, I had to also quarantine the Golden Empire into their own tank, and cure that population. But there were some leftover infected yellow crazy ants that I had to eradicate, because if they survived, then those vampiric mites would transfer to all the ants in my ant room. So I'm like, no. So I had to get a population of micro frogs to hunt these remaining infected yellow crazy ants. And that was a whole story. And it was just a whole, like, this is how complicated and like multi-level the story arcs are in just like in an aquarium.
I mean, there's like a microcosm of life with like quarantine and finding the cure, and like divisions. It just sounds like really amazing. And it's so funny because like, again, it's your vision and your narration, and you're like basically commanding the attention to this dynamic world and universe where, like you said, it's like Game of Thrones, it's like politics, it's a zombie movie, it's a love story. There's just so much in something that's so unexpected. It's why I'm such a big fan of AntsCanada.
Thank you very much.
You've been nominated before for a Streamy Award. What does it feel like to be nominated, and how does what does that represent for you to be nominated for a Streamy Award?
Well, wow. I mean, I don't know how to have more validation than to be nominated for a Streamy, really. I remember starting off YouTube thinking, hey, the stream, it would be nice to make it to the Streamies one day. But, back then it was just kind of an unattainable dream. AntsCanada had maybe a couple thousand subscribers at most at the time. And I never dreamed I would ever be nominated, let alone for a second year, let alone for 2 categories this year. So really just blows my mind. And I mean, as a Canadian, as a Filipino, it's just also really neat to represent those 2 groups, I suppose, at the Streamy Awards. And really, it's a dream come true. I couldn't ask for more.
Anybody that you wish you could have run into at the Streamies, if it were in real life, in real person?
Oh yes, I wish I could have run into Mr. Beast, who I absolutely love. Also Lily Singh, a fellow Torontonian, and who I also adore, who I've met before, but I would have loved to run into her in the red carpet. Bretman Rock, who I love. Shane Dawson. There're just so many.
Well, thank you so much. And if there's any parting words you want to say to any aspiring creators out there, that would be a great send off. Thank you.
Yeah. To all aspiring creators out there, I just urge you guys to keep creating, keep focusing on quality, and no matter how random your niche might be. I mean, I created a channel on ants, of all things, and I never would have imagined that it would have, gathered any kind of following or earned some nominations for the Streamies. So my encouragement to all of you guys is to keep going and to follow your passion.
Well, Mikey, I hope it's all mabuti, and congratulations. Yes. And I'll I'll be looking out for more of your amazing storytelling in AntsCanada, future episodes and future dramatic story arcs.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Drew, Melissa, Rika, Amir. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, and congrats again on your nominations.
Thank you.